or anyone online as British, because I identify as Korean. That's just my culture. That's my home country. That's exactly how I look now. And I also identify as Jimin. That's my Korean name. But not only that, I know it's a little bit confusing for some people. Nobody's ever come out as Jimin or Korean, but this is something that you guys know if you follow my journey for the last 8 years. I've really struggled with identity issues, with who I am.
They said it wouldn't happen. They said it couldn't happen. Yet, we just had a case where someone's come out officially as transracial, all right? We have a guy from Britain who apparently is now identifying as a Korean. Apparently he's gone over $150,000 worth of surgeries to look a lot like this K-pop band member. I don't get K-pop. I have no idea what any of that stuff is. I think it's just kind of a, silly fad. But he went through $150,000 of surgery to look like him and is now identifying as a Korean over white. And the funny thing about this is seeing Twitter erupt over this, right? Saying, transracial isn't a thing, transracial isn't a thing. And it's just funny to me because how often have a lot of us who have had any questions about transgenderism have brought this up, saying that, if you can transition between a man and a woman, well, why can't you transition between white or black or Asian and Hispanic? There's far less differences between me and my black friend who's a guy than it is between me and my white friend who's a girl, right? We have much more in common with, the people of our same sex than we do with people than we do, with any type of racial boundaries, right? If we can transition from something as different as man and woman, why can't we transition between something that is as meaningless as race? And I'm just going to say, race is meaningless, right? There is no real meaning in race. All right, if you ask me how I would identify myself, white would be so far down the list. It does not matter. All right, just because someone's more tan than you or less tan than you, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. But what does mean something is being a man or being a woman. These two things are very, very, very different at a biological level, right? They are just very, very, very different. So if we can transition between being a man or a woman, why can't I transition to someone who is, more tan than me, or someone, of course, doing what this guy did and transition to, Korean, right? It doesn't really make any logical sense to be for the transgender movement, but be against the transracial movement. I'm not sure if you can call it a movement yet, though I guess there are a few other famous transracial individuals, like, was it Sean King, right? Sean King and Rachel Dolezal, right? I think that's her name, who, I'm not sure if they came out as transracial, but they claim to be black when they aren't actually black, right? They say they identify with the community. And I mean, hey, if you like the culture of someone who, isn't of your race, I mean, hey, fine, that's cool. I mean, I travel to South America quite a bit, and I really enjoy their culture in a lot of ways. But, this isn't the first case where someone has tried to be a different race, but it is the first case, I think, where someone has openly said transracial, right? Where they are fully going all in on this transracial identity. So right now we got this story over here from the Post-Millennial, where, of course, like I said, white influence or identifies as Korean, undergoes plastic surgery, look, K-pop idol. So what they said in their tweet is, "This is my new official flag for being a non-binary person who identifies as Korean. Thank you for the overwhelming support. It was so hard for me to come out as they, them, or Korean." I'm sorry. Okay, I didn't. That's not a real thing, right? Korean, like that. There's no way that's real. There's no way that's real. I'm gonna have to check that afterwards. I want to check that right now. Okay, so it's not real. It's not real. Okay, I couldn't find anything when I googled it. As Korean. That's just okay. No, I've changed my opinion on this person. I like this person now. That's funny. And I guess that's the rainbow Korean flag, right? I'm guessing. I really don't know too much about Korea, to be perfectly honest. In the aftermath of the announcement earlier this month that they identify as Korean, a British non-binary person is receiving backlash for undergoing numerous transition surgeries to appear Korean. Again, how is this any different than having multiple surgeries to, I don't know, change your gender, change your sex? I don't see how getting surgeries to make his eyes a little bit more slanted is at all and his skin, I guess, a little bit more. I'm not sure what you would call that. To be honest, he doesn't look very Korean to me. But I don't know how getting this kind of surgery is any different than doing something like getting your breast taken off or getting castrated, right? I don't even see how the two things are even comparable. One is obviously more worse than the other, right? But hey, undergoing numerous transition surgeries to appear Korean. Oli London is a singer, Instagram influencer who has repeatedly paid more than $150,000 for plastic surgery to look K-pop band member Park Ji-min. I don't know. On June 18th, London revealed that they identify as Korean and would go by neo pronouns Korean and Ji-min, in addition to the pronouns they, them. Okay, anyone who accepts the whole they them nonsense, you have no right to judge someone for wanting to be transracial. You literally have lost all arguments to being against the transracial stuff if you have they them. I'm just saying. At least I can say this person. I might disagree with this person, but you know what? So far I don't see them being a hypocrite. I'm officially Korean in that tweet right there. You know what? You cannot be against transracial stuff and be okay with the transgender stuff, right? Either you are what you are, or you are for everything as a social construct, right? And let's face it, race is more of a social construct than gender is by far. There's not really any big biological differences between me and a Asian man than there is between me and a comparable to a fact of like me and a woman, right? There's just no comparison. So anyone who's in support of the whole they them stuff has no leg to stand on saying they were against the transracial stuff. No leg to stand on. My neo pronouns, I don't know what neo pronouns mean, but okay. According to a Daily Mail, London has undergone numerous surgeries since 2013, including multiple nose jobs and eye-altering surgery called I'm not going to say that, can't say it, a chin bone contouring, as well as skin whitening to help my skin look more Korean. Are they really that whiter than British people? I don't know. I've been having surgery since 2013 when I decided I wanted to look like Park Ji-min from the Korean boy band BTS, traveling all over the world to Korea, to Poland, to China to get it done, said London. Hey, I do have one question. Where are they getting this money? Like, all these people we get all these crazy altering surgeries, do they just go on GoFundMe and say, hey, you want to pay for my surgery? Also, you know what? I had to have actually a jaw surgery, right? My jaw actually sat too far back when I was born, and they had to actually bring it up, and I had to wait till I was like 18, 19 years old to ever get the surgery in the first place. And it sucked. It's really, really, really sucked. They had to pull my jaw forward, they had to expand my upper jaw, and just all this stuff to make sure when I slept I could actually even breathe. The surgery sucked. I had my mouth wired shut for months, and just on all liquid diet. I still to this day can't feel all around here, right? It's why you will never see me without at least some goatee hair, just because if I shave with at least a normal razor, I'll almost always cut myself because I can't feel anything here almost at all. I don't know why people would actually go under these surgeries just to look a little different. That just seems insane to me. Mine was a bit more medically necessary, and I still hated it. These people getting all these surgeries, I personally just do not get it whatsoever. They posted an LGBT rainbow-themed South Korean flag. This is my new official flag for being a non-binary person who identifies as Korean. Thank you for all the overwhelming support. It was so hard for me to come out as they, Korean. I mean, yeah, I guess that would be his flag if he identifies as Korean. It's a Korean flag, so sure. After receiving backlash over the post and their actions, London wrote, "So sad many comments are being homophobic and non-binary phobic." There's the actual LGBTQI plus flag of South Korea. Google it. Anyone that puts a negative comment is anti-LGBT and anti-equality. So sad in 2021 people would judge others about how they identify. I mean, you know, if you've been against the whole trans stuff from the beginning and the whole identity stuff from the beginning, you have a leg to stand on when you say that this person's kind of nuts. But if you're for the transgender movement and say you're pro, you know, transgenderism in general, he's right. You have no leg to stand on. It is what it is. All right, you've opened the floodgates at this point, right? You've opened the floodgates. Slippery meets slope. Here you are. On Friday, London continued to address the backlash around Twitter. If you can be transsexual, you can also be transracial. Why is there such a double standard and hypocrisy with people criticizing me for being Korean? It's the same as someone who was born in the wrong body and wants to become a man or a woman. I was actually born in the wrong body. You know what? It makes perfect sense. By that logic, again, it makes perfect sense. If you believe you can be born in the wrong body, why can you not also be born with the wrong skin color or the wrong complexion in general, right? Why can you not be born in the wrong race? If you can be born in the wrong sex, it doesn't make any sense to, you know, separate the two. If you can be transgender, you can be transracial. No, I obviously don't really think you can be either or. Personally, I say, you know, you are what you are and you own up to it and you know, be the best you can be, you know, very stereotypical, you know, slogan like that, right? Be all you can be, you know. But if you believe in the whole, I was born in the wrong body and, you know, we can change this, we can also believe you have to also believe in transracial. You cannot disagree with it. There's no logical argument to be for transgenderism but not for transracialism, right? If you can be transsexual, you can, yeah. They even called on conservative personalities Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity, both of Fox News, to defend them from trolls and woke bullies. I'm again calling on them. Yep. To be honest, they really might. They really might, because they've brought up this point multiple times, I think, where they've said that, especially Tucker Carlson, I think, has brought up the fact of if you can be transgenderism, if you can be transgender, why can't you be transracial? It's all the same at the end of the day, right? It's all the same. No person has a right to dictate how another person identifies or lives their life. If a person is happy with identifying a certain way, and that is their decision, woke people will always preach that you can have 100 different genders and identities. So why can I not be who I was born to be? I agree. 100% agree. 100% agree, all right? If you want to believe in 100 different genders, then you also have to believe that you can identify as whatever race you want. Makes 100% sense. London addressed the controversy on Thursday, posted on Instagram. I just want to set the record straight. It's Pride Month. I have always struggled with identity issues. I've been confused about who I am as a person. Boom! There you go. That is what this is all about, right? When it comes to any of this stuff, when it comes to anything as trans whatever, it's always people who have identity issues, right? There's always some issue behind it, right? It's identity issues. Again, I don't mean to be harsh, because I do have friends who are trans, right? I know people who are trans, and I'll be as nice as I can to them, but I do think they're struggling with something that is a mental issue. There's no other way around it. If you are just ignoring reality, you probably have a mental issue. Now, admittedly, we don't know the best way to treat that issue, so, you know, at 18, if you want to do whatever you want to do, you know, that's on you, right? That's totally on you. But again, this always has to do with identity issues and people being confused and not knowing anything about themselves, not being comfortable with who they are. And that, I think, has to do with a bigger cultural issue overall, right? I mean, let's face it, we are not taught at all, like, critical thinking whatsoever, to a point that when the world doesn't work out the way we think it should, we start questioning everything about ourselves sometimes. You see it happen all the time, where if I say I don't like this band, someone takes it personally, right? And it's not even the band, right? As in, like, just someone who just enjoys that music goes, "You're attacking me." No. I'm just saying the music you listen to sucks. Like, I'm not attacking you as a person. I'm just saying your taste in music is terrible. It's not... But when people have identified themselves to things, we're no longer in a case where people have individuality. Instead, they have to identify with these abstract concepts or just the things they enjoy, right? Well, if you attack this video game I like, well, you're attacking me. If you attack this movie I like, you're attacking me. Instead of just realizing, no, just some people have different opinions and think your opinion sucks. That's how it is. But the problem with this is now we're having a case where people are having major identity issues, are being confused about who they are, and they're turning to stuff like this, where they're getting surgeries to make themselves look like someone of a different race because they feel, oh, well, finally I will be accepted. Finally, I'll know who I am. No, you won't. You'll be just as confused as you were before. It doesn't change anything about who you are as a person, because change, especially something as stupid as race, it's so meaningless. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. But that's what's going through a lot of people. They're having issues with identity, and it's why you're seeing, I think, a rise in stuff like transgenderism, obviously transracialism, as well as people really identifying with a lot of these concepts or kind of ideologies instead of really figuring out who they are as a person. They don't have individuality anymore, and that's really what we got to push more of. So they put a long post here, and it keeps going, and around here you start seeing where people are actually really really hitting this person pretty hard. I think you should seek seek a psychologist who can help you. I hope. I guarantee you this person's probably all for the transgender movement, and if I said that to someone who was trans, I'm pretty sure he would be the same person who would probably attack me for that. Of course, some people are making jokes saying transitioning from black to white. Well, that's pretty good. I mean, I guess he's pulling he's kind of pulling a Beyonce there, right? Going from dark to light skin. Welcome to 2021, where even countries have become identifiable. Yeah, sure. I identify as a rich man in a first world country. Where are my riches? Again, all this stuff is change the transracial aspect and change it to transgender, and what you'll find is almost all this stuff is what they criticize others for doing, right? As respectful as I can, no, please God, no. This is borderline racist. You're not accepting the fact to say, oh yes, it's a racist. It's a racist, but it's not sexist when a man goes and competes in women's sports, right? That's not sexist. But this is racist. Something that means far less. You can't explain being Korean because you're not Korean. Well, again, tell that to the man who identifies as a woman. So it just kind of goes on, just a bunch of comments of people, of course, hating this person pretty hard. At the end of the day, I still say, you're 18, you do what you want. I think it's silly. I think it's a waste of money. I think this person probably does have some issues, but what you gonna do? All right, they're 18. They can choose to do what they want with their own plastic surgery. But anyone who is pro-transgenderism cannot be upset at this. If you're for transgender, the whole transgender movement, and are actually okay with this, hey, more power to you. All right, I can always appreciate the honesty there. If you believe you can transition between a man and a woman, then if you also say, well, you can also transition between black or white, that's hey, at least you're not being a hypocrite. I'll give you that, right? I'll give you that. But at the end of the day, this is what happens, right? We've been talking about the slippery slope, and they go, well, it's a slippery slope fallacy. It's not a fallacy if it's true. If it's true, it's not a fallacy. All right, and this is a case of the slippery slope, where you have said, oh, you can transition between male and female. Well, then you can transition between white and Asian, or white and black, or black to white. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Race doesn't matter anywhere as much compared to something like sex. So that day, I hope this person, is happy. I really do. I don't want anyone to feel bad. I don't want anyone to, I don't want anyone to really be depressed. I don't want anyone to be even going through this, right? These identity issues are a major, major problem in today's society. And what I hope is that they can start to realize that they are more than just a race. They are more than just a sexuality. They are something far more than anything that people could even begin to grasp. They are who they are on the inside, right? They have a soul. They have a spirit. That is who you truly are. It doesn't matter about all these outside features. It really doesn't. And when you get to grips at that, right? When you first start to understand the fact you're more than the physical world, maybe then, more people will start being more at peace with who they really are and start realizing that all this stuff really doesn't matter. It really doesn't. But that's just my thoughts. What are yours? Leave them in the comments. Is this person kind of crazy? Can you be pro transgenderism but at the same time not be pro transracialism? I don't see how. But you know what? If you think that, leave a comment below. Let me know how I'm wrong. I probably am wrong about a lot of stuff. So yeah, feel free. And we'll be seeing you tomorrow.